for our employees. You don't seem to care about that.
For the
You
board.
care about where people eat their lunch though. But we don't care about someone who sends inappropriate emails to other employees and department heads that any
Well-
other place would be grounds for dismissal.
Really? All
But
right.
you're gonna talk to me about,
You're getting off
Okay,
track here.
Let's stay, let's hold it.
so, I'm done. I don't have any other comments, whatever we're gonna do, let's
Yeah,
move it on, please.
Good, thanks. Mr. Myers, anything?
I'm good.
Joe?
I'd like to make a statement. For 6 months, nearly 6 months, now I've been sitting here listening to negative criticism, both from my fellow board member, Mr. Edwards, and from several members of the audience without appearing to fight back. Much of this criticism was founded on hearsay and half-truths, backed up by few facts or details, and it offered no constructive basis upon which to move forward. I'd like to take this time to speak up in a calm, rational voice to reiterate my campaign promises to provide open and efficient government in Princetown, and to inform the residents that for the past 6 months, we have received little cooperation from members of the last administration. Why did I run for this office? Well, it was a way to give back to the community. My wife and I have lived in Princetown since July of 2000. We fell in love with this town, and getting involved has been our way of showing our appreciation. And because I was born and raised in the city of Schenectady, makes me no less qualified to contribute to the town of Princetown than someone who was born here. In addition to our being empty nesters, all 3 of our children are in the military and away from home. My retirement from GE has also freed up my time to serve the town. Allow me to account for myself in service to our town. In August of 2006, I and 8 others from Princetown were appointed by the town board to the Comprehensive Plan Revision Committee on an unpaid basis. I was honored to be the chairman of that committee, and for 3 years we labored to bring the revision to a final draft that we submitted to the town board in July of 2009. I've also served for 6 years on the town's zoning board of appeals. Then I decided to run for this town board in 2011, and by the power of the voters in Princetown, I sit on this board today. Abraham Lincoln once said, whatever you are, be a good one. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do on this town board. All new jobs have a learning curve, and this job is no different. In the 5 months since our organizational meeting in January, I have been laboring up that curve with small successes that find me still learning, but a lot smarter than I was when I started. Princetown does not yet have a policies and procedures manual in place to educate novice elected officials in their new duties. So my first 6 months in office have been on-the-job training. I have asked a lot of questions, and I would especially like to thank Princetown's bookkeeper, Isla Mead, for her patience in answering many of my questions. I'd also like to thank Water Supervisor George Mead and Town Engineer Doug Cole for their help, and to Carol McLean for her help. If a town board member looks at the way the town functions and finds something that needs fixing or improving, taking action cannot be construed as political. So, I assure the citizens of Princetown that I and this board are focused on fixing and improving and not on politics. A good example of this is the fire detection system that Dan talked about earlier. Princetown, Dan brought it to my attention that the alarm system wired to smoke and heat detectors in the ceilings in all the rooms don't call out to the fire department. The way it's configured now, a fire in the middle of the night when nobody is in the building would go unreported, and the building and all its contents could be destroyed. This is a problem that needs fixing. No politics here, period. So Dan and I are looking into adding a call-out feature to the existing system. As a team, this town board has paid particular attention to spending. Only by doing this can we avert a town tax that Lou talked about. And to those who say that our town government is misguided, I ask, be more specific. There has been criticism of this board's efforts to look for efficiencies and control spending, but we have had nothing but the good of the town in mind in whatever action we have taken or proposed. And in the spirit of what's good for the goose is good for the gander, I want to turn my focus from the departments in Princetown affected by our proposed improvements to this town board. It costs the town of Princetown approximately $20,000 per year to pay the 4 members of this board a salary, not including the supervisor. In my opinion, this is too much. If all we do is show up to 1 meeting a month. When I ran for this office, I did not do so for the money. And as a token of my sincerity, when I say this, I will donate my salary for the second half of 2012 back to the town. I'm working with Isla Mead and Peter Tremarchi on the details of this action, but my initial thoughts are along the lines of subsidizing our town historian, Irma Mastrian, to resurrect videotaped interviews of several of Princetown's older residents made a decade ago and make them available to people in town and on our website. Also, using all or part of the $2,500 to initiate a sign fund for the purchase of a tasteful electronic sign on Route 7 to announce our town's activities would be good. Just my thoughts. We can work out the details later. I pledge to the citizens of Princetown my determination to do what's best for the town. We have been careful to work within the guidelines of the New York Association of Towns and to consult our town attorney, Peter Tremarchi, if we have concerns of a legal nature. I already spoke about having worked with Mr. Mark Nagelsmith on Route Drive to refinance or to look into refinancing our water bonds. This could be significant savings, depending on what we find out. Councilman Esposito has spearheaded an initiative to reduce costs by acquiring solar arrays to defray our energy costs. This too, we hope we can conclude before the snow flies. And in the spirit of open government, we've invited Mr. Bob Friedman to come and speak with us on July 17th. I hope that all of you will take advantage to come and hear him. Thank you for listening, and I look forward with you to a bright and prosperous future in Princetown. That's all.
Thank you, Joe.
Very well said.
Very well. Mr. Edwards, did you close? You're all done? So I'll wrap up and then we'll call it a night. So I wanted to take about a couple seconds about that email that was up there. So what I spent a good part, if not the whole week last week, was there was a foil that requested every email that I had sent since January 1st while working in office. Every email. I spent almost 40 hours going through those emails and sending them. It's a citizen's right to do what he wants. It's a citizen's right for a foil. You know, so I spent 40 hours, the bishop spent, X number of hours. I'm sure the town clerk spent a ton of her hours going through all that. Again, it's a citizen's right. But if we're looking at 100 hours lost time at $20 an hour, do the math. Over what? So an email was read out of context. Understand it was a part of a string that Carol McLean was not included on, was not directed. It shouldn't have been being foiled because didn't meet the requirement. As I had stated, I said, I am not trained in this, I don't know what's foilable or what's not foilable, but I met the foil. I spent a week of your money doing that, but that's the citizen's right. I sent in 500 emails. Again, some were long strings, and that was taken out of context, so you need to take that in consideration, understand the source, understand everything, understand what happened. So, it's past, as Mr. Drzezinski said, there's no power plays up here, there's nothing, we're certainly not up here because it's enjoyable. We're doing it because we love the town and we're here to help, trying to help. There's no hidden agendas here, there's no subdivisions, there's nothing going on. Joe's giving his money away, or his salary away, and that's absolutely admirable. I thought the same thing, that, you know, at some point, other towns, town councils are on stipends, maybe that's where we need to go. But if, you know, town council actually starts stepping up and doing some production, then I'll be a happy camper. So I wanted to highlight that, you know, all the rhetoric that was going on, take it in its context. Again, it was a long email that wasn't copied. It wasn't directed at anybody, it was in conversation. In conversation is actually not foilable. It should have been never turned over. But it is what it is. So, again, that's about it. I think we covered enough tonight. We've had a long meeting. Just, again, take everything with, you know, there's no hidden agendas here, no who shot JR. Again, there's nothing here, we're trying to help. So, we had some good suggestions, Mr. Ferrioli. I agree with the solar panels, bringing into the agendas. The defibrillator was a great idea. I'll touch base with the insurance and talk to Pete. Michelle has kind of put her hand up to be part of a policy committee, so I appreciate that. I got another note about here, Pete in public comment, but I don't remember what it was. And I'll talk to Karen Buckley. So with that, I'm going to close the meeting. Sorry. One more quick section, go ahead.
I think Councilman Edwards owes this side of the room an apology for calling them mutts. Councilman Edwards?
I think that side of the room owes an awful lot of people an apology, and once that happens.
That wasn't the
And
question.
you all probably do too.
I didn't know there was a
That's a good idea, right in the middle.
All right.
You can't get in trouble there.
All right.
I think that you owe an apology.
I really don't
Calling
care what
them
you
mutts.
think, quite honestly, so can we move forward, please?
I'd like to know, am I a mutt, Todd?
I didn't,
Gino?
Make sure you get this on tape, Amy. So everybody.
no, Vic, you're not a mutt, in
Thank
my
you.
opinion. I love you, Vic.
Thank you.
Love you.
So we're going to, Mike, if you and your team want to stay, I need to go to an executive session. If you guys want to stay, we can try to meet afterwards. You want to continue the discussion. You know, I'm hoping it won't be too long. It's up to you. I mean, if you know, when we come out, if you're here, we'll talk. If you want to call me tomorrow, call me. It's up to you. But I do need to make a motion to go to executive session.
Are you going in here to talk about me?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about you, Mikey.
I mean, because then we're
Yes,
going
it
to
is.
stay.
It's going to be about you. It's,
Is the public meeting opening up again after, or you're done? The executive?
well, we'll come back out of the executive session.
And then close the meeting.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Mikey.
The public portion of the meeting will open again after the executive session.
Okay. Stick around.
All right.
Yeah.
So, we have a motion on executive session to talk about. Thanks, sir.
Bob, sit here and vote.
All in favor? Aye.